Welcome to the Forgotten Realms, the home of Dungeons & Dragons and Baldur's Gate 3. Today, we're gonna respawn the idea of, is Astarion a good dom? But this time, we're talking about Spawn Astarion. Wink wink, see what I did there? Some people might not see Spawn Astarion as a dom, so let's drop a couple clips here to remind you that Astarion is, in fact, very into the DS space.
I must see this. Don't you dare say no. It was a fine strike. Excellent form. Oh, bravo. Encore. Then we'd better make it count.
Our hero thought, but a
No, I want to hear every sordid detail. Well, at least you have for me.
In today's essay, we'll be using a variety of sources, all of which you can find in the description. If I'm quoting something specifically, I'll pop that source up on screen. Otherwise, I'm not quoting it directly. And if you love dark romance academia like this, don't forget to hit that like button, or even the share button. Just hitting copy link helps more than you know. But if you really want more Astarion content, don't forget to be a sub, like me. And to appease our YouTube overlords, we'll be using terms like spicy to replace XXX words. And of course, a trigger warning. If you're someone who thinks all DS lifestyles are toxic, if you think domination and submission automatically equals a power imbalance because you're hardcore in the Dunning-Kruger effect and can't realize that all parties set up terms and consent is key, if you're gonna fly off the handle because you infantilize Spawn Astarion and see him as some meek little rescue pup instead of the strong, sassy man who knows what he wants and goes after it, well then you're gonna hate it here. But if you love being someone's good girl, simping hard for our vampire boyfriend, and exploring the world of sub-dom dynamics, guided by me, an actual sub, well, then you're gonna love it here, babe. And with that, grab your cozy drink and relax, because we're about to go a little deep. Editing Katira here. So recently, I don't know what's going on with my YouTube overlords and their algorithm, but every time I talk about Astarion, the video ends up getting age restricted. Even my live streams where all we were doing was playing the game together and we didn't even have nudity turned on, which means that that's probably going to happen to this video. And then it's not going to show up in the algorithm after the almighty smite ends up happening. So it'd be really helpful in this case if you hit that share button or leave a comment so that at least I know somebody was here. We Astarion girlies must fight back against the evil algorithm. It cannot silence us. We will have our vampire boyfriend. So what is sub-dom, or D/S for short? The term stands for dominant and submissive, describing a relationship dynamic where one partner takes the leading role and the other partner prefers to follow their guidance. It's about a negotiated exchange of power and trust, not about control without consent. DS can appear in the bedroom, in daily life, or a combination of both. And it always hinges on mutual respect and agreed upon boundaries. There are many types of sub-dom dynamics, but in this episode, we're going to focus on the following. Number 1, the servant and master dynamic. A more traditional dynamic where the dom leads in most or all aspects of life, and the sub serves in a defined role. For example, this might look like one partner handling all household management, finances, and decision-making, while the other fully agreed upon service roles in exchange for being cared for and protected, like cooking, dressing a specific way, or even having a specific diet. This is not the same as the biblical marital submission promoted by tradwives, nor is it the one-sided toxic control promoted by podcast bros. This is a consenting, negotiated dynamic where the sub enjoys being led and submitting, but they can also say no at any time. It's not just that their opinions are, quote, taken into mind, end quote. They are active decision makers in their own life, with a dom who understands their desires and works to provide them in exchange for their submission. Number 2, DS 24/7. This is a type that never exists alone. That means that this dynamic always needs another dynamic in conjunction with it. It also means that the sub-dom lifestyle is present both in the bedroom and in daily life, with the idea that, aside from short breaks to check in with your partner and rediscuss your negotiated terms, the sub is in full submission and the dom is in full dominance, in all aspects at all times. This often includes elements of servant master and DS lovers, but but it could be a mix of any types of DS dynamics that you want to live 24/7. Number 3, DS lovers. This is the type you'll see often in spicy romance novels. The ones I write are all this dynamic. It focuses primarily on intimacy and the bedroom, with power exchange centered around pleasure, direction, and play. Sometimes this play can extend beyond the bedroom, or a DS lover might only be DS during intimate moments, or they could have additional dynamics layered in with it. As we addressed in the last episode, I am a DS lover, but I'm also a princess with a worship dom. But we'll discuss that in the last one of these lists. Number 4, the caregiver/little dynamic. A dynamic where the dom takes on a nurturing, caregiving role, and the submissive embraces a more childlike or vulnerable persona. This can sometimes involve age play, but keep in mind it does not require it. And finally, Number 5, the worship dom and the prince/princess. This dynamic is often seen as a blend of the servant-master structure with the caregiver/little tenderness. The sub still offers submission and surrender, whether through spicy services or household tasks like homemaking. In return, the dom pours their energy into worship. This often means multiple spicy arrivals and sometimes edging or overstimulation to heighten the experience. And the goal? For the princess to be blissfully wrecked. Outside of the bedroom, this often takes the form of what we call princess treatment. And no, I do not mean the influencer branded version of princess treatment that Princess Collarbone pushes on TikTok. I hate calling her that, but I want you to know who I'm talking about without saying her name. No, this princess treatment is about genuine devotion, cherishing, and adoration. It's the small, thoughtful gestures. For example, I hate sticky fingers. So if my husband brings me a cupcake, he'll hold it for me while I eat it so there's no mess. It can also be your partner quietly working extra hours, only for me to find out later it was to surprise me with special tickets to Universal's epic pre-launch. It's riding the same 3 rides every single time we go to Universal because they're my favorite. Not because I ask, but because he knows that's what I want. It's walking through a crowd with him holding my hand behind his back, which has to be an awkward angle for him, just to make me feel safe and guided, because I get agoraphobic and his guidance makes me feel safe. In return, the sub-prince or princess follows their dom's lead and offers worship back. Acts of service, devotion, emotional support, or things that streamline their dom's life so that they can live more effectively. Think the idea of a generous man, rather than a rich man. A worship dom is generous. They give their time and energy. They'd be the kind that would go out and pick wildflowers if they couldn't afford roses. Because it's not about the gift for them. It's about the adoration. And before anyone jumps in, let's be clear. The term princess is correct when your dom is a king. And I am saying this because I hate when TikTokers nitpick the quote term princess treatment as if it must be that you're the king's daughter, clearly showing that they know royalty only through Disney movies and not actual history. I don't mind that people don't know the correct terms, because I'm sure a lot of people didn't know what a consort was before the first Ascended Astarion essay. I'm bothered by the people who act like they know everything when they don't, especially when it pertains to my community. In real royal terms, as we've talked about in plenty Ascended Astarion videos, the spouse of a royal without any constitutional power, which means the power to rule in that specific kingdom, is called a consort. A princess consort is a title that is given to a woman who was a princess prior to marriage, often because she could not be a queen in her own land due to the order she was born in, who then marries a king but holds no ruling authority in his kingdom. In those cases, she's still addressed as a princess out of respect for the station she was born into. So, to get princess treatment from your dom king is a reference in the community of a valuable bride who is still a ruler. Her domain is simply outside of the relationship. Personally, I am a DS lover, but outside of the bedroom, my relationship mirrors the worship dom dynamic more. We are not master and servant. I make choices in our lives, I set big life goals, and I still work. But I have a partner who works to be a generous provider, who values me, cherishes me, and places me on a pedestal as his adored wife. It's not about me being unable to provide for myself, because I can. It's about the joy and connection and accepting the level of devotion and care. And that's exactly the kind of dynamic that both versions of Astarion lean into. So let's discuss why I say Spawn Astarion is a dom. And this comes from multiple moments from the game that highlight his BDSM tendencies, dominance cues, and the way his interactions, which can be playful, seductive, or primal, happen to all fit within healthy DS dynamics. Now, let's be clear. Spawn Astarion is not a master-servant dom, but I would say that Ascended Astarion is. But Ascended Astarion does still have his worship energy. Spawn Astarion, however, is 100% a worship dom. Even when he's just seducing us to protect himself, his methods of seduction fall into the worship dom space. And after, he maintains those affections. When seducing us, there are moments, like the Starry Night scene, in which you can see the fake act, but his energy and methods don't change, even in the graveyard scene.
It's quite a sight. Why not? Aren't you just? Get some air. Clear my head. You. I want. You. You were cute. I've been dead in the ground for long enough. It's time to try living again. With everything that life has to offer. I could be persuaded. I love you. I love this. And I want it all.
So, to me, it comes across as Astarion faking his interest in someone when seducing prey, but he didn't fake his personality. And being a dom is a personality. It's not just an action. Let's talk about the Loviatar scene. In this infamous Loviatar scene, Astarion doesn't exactly participate himself, but rather he encourages the player character to participate.
I must see this. Don't you dare say no.
If Shadowheart is present, he'll make actual jokes with her, or if he's there solo, he'll cheer you on. He even gives you a +5 approval points for your participation. If you do this scene before discovering he's a vampire, it carries strong threesome vibes.
Would you have joined up with her if you'd known she'd be indulging in this sort of thing, Astarion?
I mean, I had my hopes. My. Who knew our friend had so much blood in them?
Better not let too much be spilled. As much as I'm enjoying the show, we may still need her afterwards.
Whereas, afterwards, the scene still holds a spicy undertone, but it feels less like a threesome. When he says, "This I've got to see. Don't you dare say no." It's not a denial of consent. He's being playful, teasing in the way that a dom might to a sub who's bratting. And for context, a bratty sub in the BDSM space is someone who playfully challenges their dom's authority to provoke, quote, punishment, end quote. Which is punishment done for the mutual enjoyment of both people in the dynamic. While I enjoy bratting occasionally, I am not a brat by nature. I am a kitten, aka, quote, a perfect sub. Meaning that I'm someone who gives full submission when my dom holds up their end of the dynamic.
Not to be confused with kittens in Primal Play. Same name, totally different things.
Astarion isn't assuming Tab is a brat here, but his tone mirrors the start of a punishment session, blending teasing, spicy energy, and consensual power play dynamics. And then, of course, there is the "darling, I was just thinking about you" scene. This scene is a conversation in a dialogue tree that happens when Astarion offers to hook up with you prior to the party scene.
I could feel it as I was getting lost in your neck. Your little shakes of excitement. You enjoyed it, didn't you?
In BDSM and DS circles, this kind of language blends seduction with possession, and it's a common form of dirty talk meant to acknowledge a sub's physical surrender. Let me give you some examples, with censored words, of course, from my own sub-dom work, so you have a little bit more context. This one is from Infinity's Touch. Her spicy sounds grow louder, tangled in desperation and submission. Her thighs shake as she tries to hold still for me, but it's still not enough. I want her writhing. I want her sobbing. I want her so undone she forgets she ever knew anyone else's name. Example 2, This one is from Infinity's Secrets and is in a sub's POV. I bite into my lip, trying to stifle the sound clawing up my throat. I don't want to give him the satisfaction of hearing his name tumble from my lips again. But it doesn't matter. He hears it anyway. Low, broken, muffled by my clenched teeth. My thighs shake, my breath catches, and then I shatter around him, my spicy arrival, tearing through me with violent, exquisite intensity. One final example, and this one is from a werewolf book that I haven't officially announced yet while I'm scripting this episode, but I'm calling the series it's from the Silver Creek Brides. Before she can come down fully, I stand, dragging her hips towards the edge of the counter. She gasps, eyes wide, breath heaving. I yank her spicy article of clothing off the rest of the way and spin her around, bending her forward over the counter with one firm push. Her Georgia Peach is unwrapped, thighs still trembling. I unzip my jeans. And if I finish that sentence, YouTube will come down from Mount Olympus and smite me like Zeus with a giant lightning bolt. So as you can see, Astarion's words here are referencing what's often called a ruined, spicy arrival. In DS dynamics, a ruined arrival happens when a dom brings their sub to the brink of, how do I put this? The most pleasurable thing any human will ever experience. Then stops and changes stimulation so that the final arrival is either muted, incomplete, or overwhelmed by overstimulation. This can come from multiple intense arrivals in a row until the sub is, quote, wrecked. Terms often used with this include shaking, boneless, or spent. It's one of the most common forms of, quote, worship that a worship dom offers, unless the sub has requested otherwise in their dynamic, of course. Biting, as in this scene, is a frequent act in BDSM that can create the exact same buildup. Astarion's reference to, quote, little shakes of excitement is a classic dom language to describe a sub lost in the throes of pleasure under their partner's control, making this moment far more than just feeding, but an intimate exchange steeped in desire, dominance, and body worship. Now, let's discuss those daily bites. A lot of players call this Astarion's ownership or the happy glow. I call it what it is to me, a day caller. In BDSM, a sub caller signifies ownership, commitment, and the power dynamic between a dom and a sub. A day caller is a discrete, everyday version, something worn outside private play that still symbolizes the relationship and dynamic. Some people wear it every day, or some people wear it only when they want to have an encounter. In the game, offering Astarion daily bites isn't just consent, it's a form of passive begging, also called dry begging. In DS dynamics, dry begging is when a submissive expresses desire indirectly through hints, vulnerability, or need, instead of just outright asking. Offering daily bites is essentially making yourself available for spicy services in a subtle, ritualized way. Personally, I love dry begging, especially in writing, as it builds tension, and tension makes the eventual spicy scene more satisfying from an authorial perspective. And if you manage to offer daily bites to Astarion before he offers to hook up, chef's kiss. That follows the classic paranormal romance tropes, and it's part of why people make the joke that this is basically just a vampire dating sim. So now, let's talk about the first time we hook up with Astarion. This scene sets the tone for how he approaches intimacy as a dom. First, let's talk about his seduction style. His seduction isn't passive. He controls the pace, directs the mood, and blends teasing with physical command. He guides the encounter to his desired intensity, basically. He even uses terminology that falls into dom seduction, like saying he was waiting to have us.
Waiting to have you.
And we can respond in a very bratty way, in my opinion, that he doesn't have us yet. That is a classic sub-dom writing trick. And personally, I love when men in books growl mine. This has the same kind of vibe. When you're to have brats, he guides you back by implying that, well, you're still here, so he does have you, and he does control this moment.
Don't I? You're here. And I don't think you want to talk. I think you want to be known. to be tasted.
And he's right. He guides this entire encounter. Granted, he set up this whole situation to seduce and manipulate your feelings, but in DS, it's pretty common for the dom to plan the encounter. Many doms enjoy chasing their sub and guiding them into submission. Planning a private picnic in the woods at midnight and then telling someone you want to taste them? That's just Dom 101, baby. Now let's talk about being pinned to the tree. In the context of sub-dom dynamics, pinning generally refers to physically restraining a partner, usually the submissive, to a surface like a bed, wall, or floor. It can involve bondage, but it doesn't have to. In fact, it can not even involve you touching and be solely the weight of your presence. In this case, pinning us to the tree is like being pinned to a wall. It's a classic dominance move, controlling the space, the movement, and the focus, while still giving people space to react and move into the next step. This is a common dom tactic because it allows them to gauge consent through a sub's body language and reactions rather than simply asking outright, which can sometimes break the flow, especially if you've already exchanged a bunch of dirty talk. It makes him the active leader of this moment. So even when we push off the tree and land on him, he's still in charge. Thus his Nala from the Lion King style reaction. Okay, now let's talk about my favorite part, and probably yours, him biting you on the ground. In the spicy encounter, we're the one who can choose to let him bite us or not. After we push off the tree, we land on top of him, and he immediately grabs our hips and rolls us onto our back and then climbs over us. He pins us with his presence and body and then bites into our neck. This sequence is pure primal dominance. The rolling movement is intimate and assertive, taking full control of the space and the positioning. It's the kind of detail that makes the sub-dom dynamics just sing and me go, yum. And since you're all being little good subs and you've all pressed that button, I am going to give you a tiny sub-dom fanfiction writing moment so you could see just exactly how Astarion being a dom would sound. She tumbles into me from the tree, a flash of heat and wild hair in the moonlight. For half a heartbeat, she's on top of me. But then my hands are on her hips, claiming the moment like a long-awaited victory that it is. I roll us, pressing her down into the earth. My body a cage she'll never escape. My presence an unspoken promise that she's mine now. Mine to keep. Mine to command. Her breath hitches and I drink it in, knowing she's already addicted to me. She'll never leave. She'll never betray. And she'll give me everything I want, including help without question. I hover just above, letting my dominance settle over her like the web that she wants to be free from. The scent of her skin is maddening, from the blood thrumming beneath like sacrament. The taste of triumph is already on my tongue and I haven't even bitten yet. I lower myself, my chest brushes hers, my lips ghosting over her pulse. I bite, sinking into her neck. Her body arches against me, and as the rush of blood fills my senses, I feel her nails rake down my back. It's a sting that only fuels the hunger. The shivers that run through her are delicious. A sign of a surrender that I will savor as much as her blood. Okay, that was kind of fun. But now, let's talk about Spawn Astarion's kiss animations. His kisses as Spawn aren't just about passion. They're intentional holds and touches. In DS dynamics, this is called the grounding touch. It's a form of aftercare that helps reorient the sub after intense interactions, reduces sub drop-off, reaffirms safety, and maintains emotional connection. Again, some examples. This one is from Infinity's Secrets. His hand is steady. Sure, it doesn't tremble the way mine would have. It holds me like I'm something precious, not just desired, but seen, cherished. The way I watched him with Kelly, the way I saw him hold Kelly's face after kissing her, like she was the sunlight incarnate. And now he's touching me like I'm sunlight too. And let's see the graveyard scene. In the graveyard scene, Astarion starts by teasing you with a joke about being persuaded.
If a night of passion is on offer, I could be persuaded.
Now, I know some people might read this as Astarion being uncomfortable, but given he's written with a subtext that is very heavily into the DS community, that isn't how I see it. And you might ask why? Well, it's because this is something that doms actually say, and I have had doms say to me. It's Astarion encouraging you to basically dry bag, a dom's version of dry bagging themselves. Instead of asking you for a specific action or service, he's coaxing you into begging him to take you, to claim you, to want to give him the reins, so to speak.
Editing Kit here to give you a little bit more context. It's because doms want you to beg. Like, it is an actual thing where when they're being the dominant partner, they enjoy you wanting them, you desiring them, you going after them. They want to lead the situation, sure. But there's nothing to them better than having their sub desperately want them. And by being like, oh, you could persuade me, he's making you put in the effort to persuade him in that you're begging, you're wanting, you're desperate, you're desiring. It's like an ego boost.
Once you agree, he leans in to kiss you, softly, almost deceptively tender. And then he shoves you down to the ground and climbs over you. His mouth finds yours again, this time in a heated, claiming kiss. Then comes one of the most tantalizing moves in the entire game. And you have to have the ability to break the camera to see it. So I'm going to use one of my mutuals videos. Shout out to her. Go and give her follows and likes. We all love her.
Editing Kit here. Between the time in which I voice recorded this and the time that I edited it, I got the romance mod to actually work on one of my devices just long enough to actually give you the scene I'm talking about from my own perspective. But I'm still going to include my friend because you should all go follow her.
Astarion hooks your leg over his hip on one side and then grinds his hips into your core as he kisses you. Now, I cannot speak for my assigned male at birth viewers, but for my fellow assigned female at birth viewers, that angled friction, toe curling, leg shaking, body shivering, good. The grind, the heat, the closeness, that is the kind of move that melts resistance and turns a moment into pure, unfiltered want. And that is why every girly pop be obsessed over it. So, what actually makes a dom a good dom? In healthy DS dynamics, there are a few universal pillars that define a dom as worthy of submitting to. Number 1, consent and negotiation. A good dom establishes clear boundaries, like safe words and a mutual understanding before engaging in any encounter or lifestyle arrangement. They never assume, they ask, or, if you're in an ongoing dynamic, they read their partner's pre-negotiated body language and cues. Spawn Astarion does negotiate certain boundaries. The wholesome conversation about your dynamic shows mutual agreement.
I guessed. The man can't stay quiet about enjoying the freedom of nature's gifts. I bet he'd outlaw clothing if he could.
And while we've established I do not think Astarion truly wants to be poly, he at least respects Tav's desires and their need to talk openly about their relationship. Astarion is the one who offers sex each time you hook up.
I can replace those brutal fantasies of yours with desires you'll find much harder to push away. See what I mean? Awful. All I want is a little fun. Is that so much to ask? By the hells. Sex, my dear. A night of passion. Here's my little treat with their cheeks all flushed. You will come to my bed tonight, won't you?
And he gives Tav space to react either physically or verbally with consent.
If you catch my meaning. And I do mean sex, to be clear. We've been waiting long enough.
Think about scenes like the graveyard scene where he dry begs and accepts advances as a form of consent. So, Spawn Astarion gets a 10 out of 10 here. Number 2, balanced power exchange. Power in a DS relationship is a gift, not a permanent entitlement. A good dom understands that they are being entrusted with control, and they balance it with care and reciprocity. So Astarion, as a spawn, he excels here. He gives Tab agency in their lives as adventurers, but offers,
Why, she sounds positively demented. I love it. Let's tell her everything.
misguided guidance and suggestions when in your active party, which is a perfect balance for a worship dom. His guidance and lead are being given as a gift, not as a given, making his dominance feel like something that's shared and it's a chosen dance. Number 3, leadership. A good dom provides structure, guidance, and direction without crushing your autonomy. Leadership is about inspiring trust and making your sub feel safe following their lead. For Astarion, whether leading you through dangerous situations or simply steering the mood in intimate encounters, he does guide you with confidence. His ability to plan and set the tone, the romantic scene, the graveyard, etc., checks this box fully. And number 4, dominance in action. Dominance isn't just about identity. It's demonstrated through decisive, confident action, which could be physical, verbal, or even psychological. And for Astarion, as a spawn, absolutely. From pinning you to the tree, to the leg hook grind in the graveyard, to the way he controls pacing and escalation, Spawn Astarion doesn't just show consent, he also shows consistent, confident dominance. And finally, number 5, aftercare. Aftercare is so important, and if anyone tells you it's not, they're not a good dom, run away. Because a good dom takes responsibility for their sub's physical and emotional well-being after any encounter, ensuring that they feel safe, grounded, and cared for. Some subs want to be used, but you need that emotional connection afterwards to make sure that your relationship stays in balance and you never feel like you're being used in a bad way. As for Astarion, as Spawn Astarion, oh my god, yes, way more than Ascended Astarion. Again, I'm an Ascended girly, but Spawn Astarion just understands aftercare. He likes kisses and cuddles and moments of grounding touch, and these are all prime examples of aftercare in action. So the verdict? By the core pillars of a good dom, Spawn Astarion meets or exceeds most requirements. His only red flag was that the relationship started with him wanting to seduce and manipulate you. However, he has a full character arc, and then he falls for you. It's the trope of, I fell hard, but he fell harder.
Look, I had a plan. A nice, simple plan. Seduce you, sleep with you, manipulate your feelings so you'd never turn on me. All you had to do was fall for it. And all I had to do was not fall for you. Which is where my nice, simple plan fell apart.
Which is one of the most classic dom tropes in any sub-dom story. Personally, I love writing fated mates, so my men become instantly obsessed and chase her down, seducing her into surrender and submission. I do have more male-female couples than female-female or male-male, but even in queer couplings that I have in stories, the dom is always just as obsessed and falls way harder than the sub that they worship. Normally, I would do a reading here, but I think I have given you enough samples of my writing today. And if you enjoyed this essay, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help keep the channel going. And if you want more sub-dom deep dives into Astarion, my backlog of videos is ready for you to explore. And of course, if you want to read my spicy romance novels full of obsessive doms, worship subs, and fated mate energy, you can always check out my books in the description below. And thank you for being here. Because writing and gaming, they're my passions. And with subscribers like you, I get to share those passions. And I hope to see you in the next one. Good night, darling.
Okay, so I would like to not have to sit in here in my closet every time I want to record or stream anything, because it is really annoying. Because although I am tiny enough to fit in this closet and point completely up at you, it's really annoying to be in this closet.
Because my purse is hanging above my head.
So my husband got me on there, so that I can be in the normal part of it. Now, we're standing on the bed, because I'm too short to do it.
You have to pull the cord through the bottom. So I have to get on and off, and then back on.
I only have one light bulb left in the pack. Even on the bed, it was not tall enough, so we have to do it on the ground sideways. With like a microphone. Then I'm not gonna put this one on until I have a second light bulb, or I will forget, and there will never be a second light bulb. And then Katira said, "Let there be light."